Hi guys and welcome to another vlog. I'm driving this is the 2020 Tata Harrier. The one we're driving is of course the manual, but I've already done a very detailed review of the Tata Harrier earlier. All you have to do is click somewhere here to see it. So we're going to be keeping this review really short and sweet in terms of the walk around, because I'm going to be telling you things which could have been better on the Harrier. Oh my god, this is so heavy. That is the engine, says Cryotech 170. 170 is written in red, which actually improves the performance. There's insulation right there, but there are no hydraulic struts, which is actually the case with the Safari, which actually gets hydraulic struts as well. The car looks more or less the same as the pre-facelift, and of course looks the same as the automatic as well. Disappointingly though, it doesn't get LED lights, so this is obviously a halogen. This is a projector setup, xenon, HID, and this is the fog lamp of the vehicle, again halogen chrome surround. But what's interesting is the attention to detail. You can see what's there inside. Well, I don't exactly know what that is, but if you could tell me, that would be really very nice. Okay, you see the mirrors have become smaller now, and in becoming smaller they actually dropped something. Yes, earlier it used to do a logo projection on the road, which is now gone, so cost cutting has been done there. The new alloy wheels look really nice as well, and in this grey color the car looks pretty smart too. But there's not much to talk about since I've already spoken so much. What could have been better? Of course, I think full LED lights would be a real nice touch, because unfortunately the indicators are not complete LEDs, and these fake exhausts, well, they shouldn't have been there for sure. Just show us the real exhaust of the car. That would be really very nice. The camera actually kind of sticks out. It's better integrated on the Nexon. And talking about the Nexon, well, I have a lot of Nexon things to talk about in the Harrier vlog, because I certainly feel that Tata could have given this car connected car tech, which is missing in the Harrier, but there in the Nexon it's known as IRA. Anyways, boot is big enough. Spare wheel isn't an alloy. Where's the spare wheel? Where spare wheel is actually underneath. Let's close this. Maybe power tailgate would have been a really nice touch, because I know the new XUV is going to get it for sure. That's the exhaust, that is the spare wheel, and it keeps ringing this irritating sound of honking, just to tell you that, you know what, the key is not inside the car. Well, it's with me. Please stop honking, will you? That would be really nice. Let's get inside the rear. There's good amount of space on offer, like really good amount of space on offer. The seats are very comfortable too, and has a very airy feeling inside the cabin, thanks to the panoramic sunroof, which is massive in terms of size. AC vents could have been there in the center as well, and the floor could have been flat too. But I have not much to complain about, other than the fact that there is no center headrest on offer. But the seats are super comfortable. Quality levels are fab, and I love how the leather has been done on the door pads as well. In fact, storage space is plenty. You see the compartments, that's very nicely done as well. And it says the bottle holder. At the front you get umbrella holders too, and I don't know why you have the TriStar everywhere. It's okay in the Nexon, because the Nexon comes across as funky, but the Harrier should come across as a mature vehicle, which these TriStars really don't achieve much in that sense. However, the dashboard looks really very nice. I love the treatment. I love how wide it is. I love, the quality of the cabin is just super duper awesome. Tata's done a brilliant job with the vehicle. It says Harrier right here as well. I have not much to complain, okay, other than the honking which keeps happening. This guy's so honking. Yeah, the guy's so honking all the time. Anyways, let's get inside. Firstly, these switches don't look really premium on a car which costs almost 25 lakh rupees, because it looks very basic. कुछ ज़्यादा है नहीं यहाँ पर. Obviously controls for the outside rear view mirrors, but again similar to other Tata cars. However, I love the fact that the seats are extremely comfortable. You get electric adjust, although not for lumbar support, and there's no lumbar support for the co-passenger as such. So for lumbar support, the switch is given here. That's right. Now what could have been better? Well, not much as such, because already the car is so brilliant. However, obviously I'm going to nitpick, because that's what I do when I've already done a review of the car earlier. Just kidding, nothing like that. It's just that I feel that certain things would have been better, like connected car tech could have been given. It doesn't have Hindi voice commands, which is there in the Nexon, so some things in the Nexon are there which are not present here. Anyways, last time I had actually shown you this cluster, but I didn't show you this beautiful thing, which is actually quite nice. Reminds me of the new Maruti Baleno power and torque indicator. Yeah, that's also pretty cool. Now this also has a driver rear view monitor. If I click this, driver rear view monitor is activated. Now here's the funny thing, okay, we are in eco mode, I get into sport mode, it just beeps. It doesn't do anything more than that. It just beeps. That's all. That's about it. Just beeps, doesn't tell you the voice commands, because it's supposed to be silent when you're in reverse, and obviously dulls the volume when you're driving. You can drive the car at any speed with this camera actually on, which I will show you. Now let's do one thing. Let's close this. Once I close this,
drive mode activated.
Yeah, it wakes up later and tells you all the commands. So similar thing happens if you're on a phone call. It will later get up and be like, you know what, this is the situation, you have got into the drive mode. Anyways, it gets an auto dimming inside rear view mirror right now. I told you the outside rear view mirrors are smaller now. Meanwhile, it gets this massive panoramic sunroof as well, and I love the way how Tata has done the sunroof on their cars, because they have given separate switches for sunroof controls. So if you want to open it or slide it or close it or even use the sun blinds, everything has a separate switch, which is super cool. I'm just telling you the new additions. Like this has been moved a little ahead to make it more convenient to use the USB slot of the vehicle, but this is just unnecessary, very difficult to operate. And this gets a manual gear lever. Obviously it's a manual, not an automatic. That's the other difference. That's about it. Ergonomically could have been better because your left leg fouls with the center console, although they've given this leather so that it's actually comfortable. Steering wheel is nice to hold. There's not much to nitpick in this car because Tata's done a great job, although I really feel there should be a mirror and a light on the driver's side as well, because you do get it here. Even the S-Cross gets it on both the sides. Yeah, like I told you last time, just cut the mirror here, cut the mirror and take one light, put it on the driver's side. That would be so cool. Seats are lovely. I love the seats, and storage space is plenty in this car. So really very practical a vehicle. And I love everything on the Harrier because I think it's the best Tata car by far. In fact, I think it's the best Indian car right now by far. Quality levels, the fit finish, everything feels so well done. It's absolutely phenomenal. It's got so many features as well. The Harrier is loaded with a ton of equipment, so you have not much to complain about. Although, they could have switched this also in buttons. But hey, no one's complaining because, yeah, you're not going to use this. Because when you do, you can just change the various modes.
Mode activated.
Yeah.
Rough road mode activated.
Alright, let's do one thing. Let's use the wipers. Plenty of spray on offer. And the wipers do a great job too. So yeah, Tata Motors has done an absolute phenomenal job with the Harrier. Although I certainly believe that what they've given now should have been the original product which was launched. A lot of attention to detail in the car. Like if I turn off the car and if I just like lock it, well, the sunroof should be going inside. I think sunroof is on a vacation today. It's not doing that. Let's do one thing. Let's take the key out and see if that happens. Let's get going. First things first, air conditioning off. We change the mode here to see power and torque in the instrument cluster. That is the one. Yeah, that is actually the one. We turn on rear view monitor as well. That's the rear view monitor. Into first gear and of course get out of eco mode as well. She's not going to say it now. And of course wipers on and off we go. Now the road ahead, oh my god, you can see the road is already pretty bad. And the stiffness of the Harrier can be felt at lower speeds, but onto the gas, the motor feels really punchy in sport mode, which is a very nice thing. But over here, it's best to speed up because you see there is just so much water already, but the Harrier absolutely decimates everything because it feels super duper rugged once you get the pace going. It feels really very nice as well. That's actually a very good thing. I love the way the Harrier feels kind of indestructible, and that's all thanks to the Land Rover platform, the Land Rover DNA. Okay, it's not a Land Rover platform. It's a Land Rover inspired platform, if I may, which means that the handling is super duper awesome as well. Oh my god, the motor feels really very vocal in the higher end of the rev range, but it is actually more refined than before. It's also more silent when compared to the automatic, which is actually a stellar thing. Okay, we straight away get into fourth gear. You see, the motor actually feels nice low down because it feels silent. The mid-range is the strong point of this motor, and in the top end it absolutely screams. Scream in the sense doesn't move ahead much, but it makes a lot of noise as well. So here we go into fourth gear. Motor is very tractable in the mid-range, which is splendid. So horsepower has increased by 30 horsepower more, 170 horsepower at 3750 RPM when compared to before. And now there's a more direct comparison with the older model, because the older model was not available with the automatic, and now both of them, I'm comparing both the manuals. So we're driving the manual, and I love the fact that the gear shifts are slick. Okay, it's not the slickest in terms of shifts, but it is still on the slicker side. The clutch is light but not very progressive, and we are already in 6th gear. Now the motor is ticking at around 2000 RPM in 6th gear, feels very at home, very much at ease, and super refined as well, as long as you don't get in the top end. So there is some lag lower down. There is low end lag, of course, because this is a big engine. 2000cc is the displacement of this engine. This is the same engine in the MG Hector, in the Jeep Compass as well, and obviously slight different tuning by Tata Motors. The tuning is well done because the mid-range is really strong. So yes, you have the turbo lag lower down, which affects the drivability of the car, but the mid-range gives you a nice punch ahead, and in the top end it just makes a lot of noise. So the refinement goes for a toss in the top end. I love the mid-range punch. In fact, around 1750 RPM is where the turbo spools up. So peak torque is between 1750 to 2500 RPM, 350 Newton meters, which is identical to before. In fact, it is the same as the Hector, it's the same as the Compass. So 350 Newton meters, everybody follows that. Meanwhile, power output is similar to the Hector, slightly lower than the Compass by I think 3 horsepower. Let's downshift into third gear. Here we go. You can hear a lot inside the cabin because once you push the motor hard and fast, it obviously gets quite vocal past 3000 RPM, and the top end it doesn't really have that much grunt. In fact, there's a slight flat spot around 4200 RPM because there it kind of pauses, takes a deep breath and then rushes all the way to its 5000 RPM redline. It's actually 4900 RPM is where it goes, and it doesn't go beyond 4900 RPM. Now there is some speedo error. Actually it does 119 kilometers per hour in third gear. Meanwhile, when compared to the automatic, first and foremost, this feels so much better. It feels so much quicker as well. It's 1 second quicker than the old Harrier 140 horsepower and almost half a second quicker than the Harrier automatic, because you're shifting gears, you're faster, and actually you are taking one less shift to reach 100 kilometers per hour because it reaches 100 in third gear itself. Meanwhile, the automatic goes to 100 kilometers per hour in fourth gear. So that is the difference. The automatic is very convenient, but the manual is just so much more fun because you have manual control on the gears and you redline harder and faster because it redlines at 4900 RPM in first three gears. Meanwhile, the Harrier automatic redlines at 4100 RPM in first three gears. Although, you know, the redlines are very similar in the last three gears. In fact, both of the cars redline at 3600 RPM in sixth gear at a top speed of 190 kilometers per hour. Yeah, let's apply the brakes. Braking performance is nice. Could have been a little bit better in terms of overall feel and feedback from the pedal, but for the most part, yes, it does a great job. All right, let's get going. First gear, revving the motor, rev still 2500 RPM. First gear almost 40 kilometers per hour. In second gear it reaches 80 kilometers per hour, and in third gear obviously it reaches 119 kilometers per hour. So your performance is very nice. This car takes 11.2 seconds to go from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour, which is quite brisk for a car of this size. This actually weighs 1710 kgs, 9 kgs lesser than the Harrier automatic because of the weight of the automatic gearbox. However, the difference in the various modes is also very different now, because obviously we've got three drive modes. There is Eco, there is City, there is Sport as well. Now in these three modes you realize one thing, that performance actually you can make out is changing because the output obviously changes. The 170 350 Newton meter combo is obviously in Sport mode. In lower modes it will produce lesser power and torque, of course, and you can feel that. In Eco mode it's like someone has actually put a brick right below the accelerator pedal. It refuses to give you that punch which you're so used to once you drive in Sport mode. So yes, performance is not sluggish, but it's much lower in Eco mode. In City mode it's okay. Actually City and Eco mode you can use it in the city, but out on the highway you have to be in Sport mode because this is where it feels really very punchy. This is where it comes into its own and pushes forward really nicely as well. But the difference now between the old Harrier and the new Harrier is the fact that whether you're in City mode, whether you're in Eco mode, whether you're in Sport mode, it still will go all the way till the red line. So revs were capped earlier, that has been removed now. That's the reason why the car has also become faster now. Obviously with 30 horsepower more, it has certainly become faster. In fact, this car is 1 second faster than the old 140 horsepower in Sport mode. Meanwhile, if I factor in the Eco mode, the difference, so let's talk about City mode. City mode, it's 2 seconds faster. So it goes from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in around 12.2 seconds in City mode. Meanwhile, in Eco mode, it goes from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 13.2 seconds. So it's 2 seconds slower when compared to the Sport mode, 1 second slower when compared to the City mode, but almost 4 seconds faster when compared to the old Harrier. That is a significant difference in performance of this car, which is absolutely stellar. In fact, fuel economy has also improved by 1 kilometer per liter, and the fuel economy is 1 kilometer per liter better when compared to the automatic. So you can say that the new automatic returns the same fuel economy of the old Harrier manual 140 horsepower. So with the increase in power, they've also improved the fuel economy. Well, that's because of BS6 emission norms. That's kind of helped here. Anyways, downshift, gearbox, nice punch. And what happened here? I know, I can see that. That always happens. I can see that, don't worry. That dieselness can be felt and heard high up in the rev range, and you know that this is a diesel car. Obviously lower down it feels much more refined. The steering is really very heavy. It's a hydraulic steering wheel, super duper heavy, and somehow it feels tighter when compared to the automatic, and that's the reason why it requires a lot of effort at slower speeds to twirl this car and drive it as well. And braking performance, just see some amount of nosedive. Of course, stiffer suspension does contain that to a bit. Into first gear, revving the motor, puts down the performance really very nicely. Oh my god, we have a river. We have got a river here, and that is the reason why that auto guy was coming the other way. Too much water.
खड्डा तो 100% नहीं है।
जाने दो ना ब्रेजा को, देखते हैं क्या करती है ब्रेजा। ये ब्रेजा निकल गई तो हम लोग जाएंगे।
ब्रेजा में पानी गया 100% गया।
लेट्स सी इफ द ब्रेजा गोज।
गया अंदर 100% पानी के अंदर। भेजेगा सर्विस पे गाड़ी को।
अर्टिगा जाएगी तो हम जाएंगे, देखते हैं। हैजर्ड लाइट ऑन करो। अर्टिगा वाला तो वहीं से यू टर्न मार रहा है।
पहली फुर्सत में निकले वो।
ट्रक वालों को तो कोई इशू ही नहीं है।
वो तो स्वैग में निकलेंगे।
नहीं तो ट्रक जा रहा है तो वो भी जाएगी, अर्टिगा भी जाएगी, देखना। एक्चुअली हमें रोके देखते हैं ना, लोग भी थोड़े बौखला गए हैं, सोच रहे हैं क्या करे या नहीं करे।
We can go ना।
जा सकते हैं, चली जाएगी, निकल जाए, आराम से निकल जाएगी। ग्राउंड क्लियरेंस अच्छी खासी है इसकी।
Yeah. So 1, 2, 3 and off we go. जय महाराष्ट्र। Yeah, Artica is coming in Josh. Wow!
Yeah, of course, that's the reason why you drive an SUV, because the Harrier just glides through this without any issue whatsoever. And if this was some other car, I would not dare to take it, but I know this car will go through without any issue whatsoever. Of course, Land Rover genes in this vehicle, and that really shows no hiccup whatsoever. Even if there was a bad bump, the Harrier would have taken it in its stride without any issue. Of course, it's a little bit on the stiffer side at lower speeds, but it manages all that beautifully well and simply glides through at higher speeds over the worst of roads. Okay, little bit of vibrations can be felt on the steering wheel, little bit, and on the pedals as well, on the gear lever as well, little bit, not much. So yes, they have contained the vibes to a great extent, but as I see it, the Harrier feels so brilliant to drive. I absolutely love the handling. Body roll is well under control. Obviously there is some amount of roll because it's a tall car, it's a heavy car, but for the most part you actually feel nice driving this vehicle because it's just so freaking amazing. First and foremost, the track is wide, okay? The tires are also wide, so offers a lot of grip, offers a lot of confidence, and really hugs the road and goes ahead. High speed stability is also very nice on this vehicle, and then it's got ESP with 14 functions, including brake disc wiping, which means that right now when we put everything into the water and became wet, well, it's already dried it up, so I can't see brake fade as such. Yeah, braking performance is still good enough, although I expected a little bit better positive feel on the pedal for sure. Now, when you're in 6th gear, let me just put it into eco mode. Yeah, we are in eco mode right now. Auntie's gone to sleep, so actually because of the parking sensor she's not talking, so we just shut this for a moment.
Economy drive mode activated.
Now she will talk. Okay, we need to shut this. So
City drive mode activated.
now in city mode, you can feel I'm hard onto the gas. That urgency is not there of the sport mode, and that further gets
Economy
blunted.
drive mode
That is
activated.
Mahindra Thar.
Mahindra Thar?
No, it's a Jeep Wrangler.
Exactly.
Now in eco mode, you see it's further dulls to another extent, but that's the reason you just drive it in sport
City
mode.
drive mode activated.
Sport. Give me sport mode.
Sport drive mode activated.
Now press this button. Okay, this could have been slicker in terms of the way it operates. Anyways, this vehicle speed is high, drive slowly. It says at even 20 kilometers per hour because it's a reverse parking camera, which is like a driver here. You monitor its speed, but you can't really see much as such inside right now. So the Harrier is available in 16 freaking variants. The base variant starts at rupees 16.81 lakhs on road Mumbai and goes all the way till 24.6 lakhs for the top end automatic. The top end manual is priced at 23.09 lakhs. That is for the dark edition. This one is not the dark edition. This is, I think, the dual tone, which costs 12,000 rupees lesser, making the price almost as much as 23 lakhs, which is quite a lot. But what you get is well worth your money. I know it doesn't get connected car tech, which is a little bit disappointing at this price point, but still it offers you a ton. What it doesn't offer you in terms of features, what the Korean siblings do, it does make up for it by offering a very stellar handling package, a great ride at, as you speed up, obviously not at lower speeds, and the kind of durability, the kind of feel and ruggedness which you would expect only from Tata Motors, because of course the Land Rover DNA makes this vehicle feel so good when you're driving on the bad parts of the road, and unfortunately there are a ton of bad parts on our road as such. Let's just downshift into third gear. Here we go. Quite vocal, huh? Never mind. I don't mind the vocalness at all. Okay, there's the hill descent control, which limits speed to 12 kilometers per hour in first gear and 22 kilometers per hour in second gear. yeah, it's kind of useful if you go off the road, but of course this is a front wheel drive vehicle. It's got these various terrain modes as well, which actually plays with the traction control system in order to give you some amount of off-road capability, but still this is not a complete off-road car. And as far as the chassis and the suspension go, similar to the Discovery Sport, the old one, because the new one obviously uses the premium transverse architecture which is there in the Evoque as well. But that D8 platform is very rugged, very nice. Front suspension is similar, rear suspension is not. Rear suspension doesn't get a multi-link. It gets a more cost-effective torsion beam. So yeah, that is also the difference here. Now, should you buy a Tata Harrier? Well, that's a good question. You pay 1.6 lakhs more for the automatic, which might seem like a considerable uptake for the automatic, but then that is usually the cost difference between a manual and an automatic. With the automatic, you obviously get the convenience, ease of driving. This car, well, kind of feels a little difficult to drive unless and until you get used to it, because the steering is on the heavier side, although you know the clutch pedal and the gear lever is on the lighter side as such. It just, okay, you see these bad roads, no problem. I mean, it glides through it. So you're paying that additional premium for the convenience and ease of driving, although this is faster. Yeah, the manual is just faster, so much more fun, and you can have that mid-range grunt and fun as well. And that's one of the major reasons why I would recommend to get the manual over the automatic. But if your usage is in the city and if you're not really interested to drive as much and you don't want to hit the gym in your car itself, then probably get the automatic. I would prefer to save that 1.6 lakh rupees, get the manual of the Tata Harrier, because I just find it so much better and quicker as well. I mean, who does not want fast and speed and still have your cake and eat it too? Because not only is it faster, it's also more efficient as well. Now, this car has a 50-liter fuel tank capacity, which is decent enough, giving you a range of almost 500 kilometers on a full tank of fuel. Now, of course, this complies with BS6 emission norms, and that's why there is the AdBlue reservoir in the boot lid of this vehicle. And I've already given you all that information earlier in the vlog of the Harrier Automatic about how the AdBlue works. And if you're not seeing that video, just click it here in the end screen. So guys, this is my vlog of the Tata Harrier manual. If you liked it, make sure to give it a thumbs up. That's the like button, and also subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys in the next video real soon. I just love shifting gears. It's so much fun, and then it becomes vocal now. It wakes you up, but you're like, it's making too much noise. Maybe I should upshift. And you don't need to upshift, because this car can take a lot more in its stride because of the gearing, which is on the taller side as such. Bye-bye.